I have to make you host in order to share your screen. Yeah. Okay, no problem. You can just make me host again once you are done with sharing. Okay.
Okay.
Um, Hi, guys. Okay, so now you can share your screen.
Okay. You see it? Okay. So
Yeah.
here it is. Say there's account with that sign in information doesn't exist.
So when you have tried creating AWS account,
Mm-hmm.
when
Yes,
I
then.
mean,
So
okay,
let's say if I go to this link, right?
yeah.
AWS at
So now
Amazon.com.
just mm-hmm.
This
Please
is
go
what
for complete. Yeah, complete sign up. Click on that.
right here, right?
Yeah.
And here it asks me,
Acha. Okay. So have you given all the information related, like your address, your email ID, the username, billing
nothing,
details, everything?
nothing,
You have not given anything?
nothing. No, this is the screen I see.
I think
No.
he has to click to create a new AWS account.
So which one? The second one? This one you mean?
The last one on the bottom, create a new account.
Right here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So these are the different one from the customer account, right? It
Uh,
wouldn't conflict with it. Let me see.
uh, yeah. So have you not done all these things?
Okay, I'm doing it now. All right. Now I think it's working fine.
Yeah. So click on the personal, not professional.
Yes, got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that you have read and understand. So now it's gonna ask me
Yeah, you
the
can stop sharing. No problem. You can stop sharing and then give the billing information and just make me host. And
okay.
you can,
I wanted to
uh,
show you one more thing before we wanted to install this thing, right?
yeah,
Uh,
just keep everything as default settings and install it. You need not change anything.
anything, just press next. That's it.
Next. Yes, yes. Everything.
That's it, right? Recommended third party.
Whatever it may be the recommended thing, just go for the default one.
This is the one is correct. Recommended
Yes,
one.
yes. There is no harm in that.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Any more questions, guys? Please complete it. I don't have any issues discussing this in the class because it's very important creating an AWS account as well as installing this Git bash. I hope everyone has done it. Please don't come back to me telling that you have not completed. Please let me know.
Would you like us to have it open right now?
Like what? You have done it creating?
Yeah.
That's fine. If you have created the AWS account as well as the Git bash installation, it's fine. I'm not asking you to show, but I'm just telling that please confirm it. If you have any questions, please let me know. Cool. So let's start with our session then. Mm-hmm. South, is that fine? Or do you
Yes.
want me to?
Thank you. Thank you. Go for it.
Yeah, great. Okay. So, EC2 stands for Elastic Compute Cloud. The compute represents the server or compute resources. This can be an any server. This can be an application server or database server, web server, can be an any server. The cloud represents these servers are hosted in cloud. And the elastic represents if you can properly configure, you can actually increase and decrease the amount of servers according to the application demand. In AWS, we call it as instances instead of servers. Okay. So these instances are the virtual computing environments. That means it's a virtual machine in simple terms. It supports scalable compute capacity with no hardware upfront and with pay as you go pricing too. Okay. So if you just ask me, so this is an EC2 in simple terms. EC2 is a virtual machine. Okay. So now what we'll do, we'll try to create a virtual machine in the cloud. Yeah. So let me just go back to the console. So as soon as you create an AWS account, of course, it takes 24 hours to get activated. Okay. So once you give the credentials, you will be directed to this page like this, AWS Management Console. Okay. So where we can see the services from here, all the services, and the recently visited services can be here. And you can see the same thing from here also. You see the recently visited services and all the services. Okay. And if AWS want to notify you something, you can get notification from here. And under your name, the user ID, you will be able to see all the information about your account, billing, where you can change your password, security, where you can enable regions and all. And here you can see all the regions which you can access. Remember what is a region? Which we discussed yesterday? Yeah. So here you can see all the regions where you can access it. Okay. And throughout this course, we will be sticking with North Virginia. Okay. So there is no particular reason why I'm selecting North Virginia. North Virginia is basically the first region of AWS. Okay. So and we have 6 availability zones. We have more availability zones so that we can play around. Okay. So it is not that you need not go for other regions. Whatever you want it, you can choose it. I recommend you to go for North Virginia. But whatever it may be the region you select, please make sure you stick to the same region throughout the course. Okay. I recommend you to go for North Virginia, but you can go whatever you want it, but please stick with that throughout the course. I'll tell you why. For example, I have spun a virtual machine in North Virginia region. Okay. And when I was playing, I went to Ohio and I have done few more things. So usually the server which you have created in North Virginia cannot be seen in Ohio. Okay. So if you are working in different regions and if you missed to clean up, to delete it, you may get charged once it crosses the free tier. I'm not just talking about a server, I'm talking about multiple services which we use in AWS. So to avoid all these things, I'm asking you to stick with only one region. Okay, I might be sticking with North Virginia. Okay, and under the support, Yes, if you have any queries, okay, the frequently asked questions and all and documentation, you can see here. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll start with our first service, which is EC2. So we'll type it and you can select it. Now you will be directed to the EC2 dashboard where you can see all the EC2 resources here. And if I can go down and you see, I'm in North Virginia and I have 6 availability zones. Okay, so I said North Virginia is the first region of AWS. Now, whenever they want to implement any new feature, first they'll start with North Virginia and they parallelly implement in other regions. Okay, so now what we'll do, as said, let's create a virtual machine. So go to instances. I do have an instance, we can just ignore it and let's create a launch and another instance. Now we will see what are all the steps involved in creating an instance. Okay, so first is choosing an Amazon machine image, which is AMI. So this AMI is basically a template which contains your operating system, supporting libraries and applications. If you ask me in simple terms, AMI is basically a selection of an operating system for your virtual machine. So what type of operating system you want for your virtual machine can be defined in the first step. But if you ask me an AWS definition, yes, AMI is a template which contains your operating system, supporting libraries and all the applications. Okay. And if you see here, I have Amazon Linux AMI, Linux 2 and Amazon Linux. These AMIs are AWS ka AMIs. Yes. Okay. So they have introduced their own AMI and these two are derivatives from Red Hat. That means they use Yum as a package management tool. Okay. And we have Red Hat again. We have SUSE. We have Ubuntu. We have Windows also. And we also have some sort of deep learning. So if you select deep learning, any one of the deep learning AMIs, the virtual machine with this AMI will have all the softwares related to deep learning technology. Okay, so and so forth. We have multiple AMIs. And now, in this session, we will be selecting any one of the AMI, but you can select whatever you want it, yeah, according to your convenience. But make sure that you select an AMI which is under free tier. You see? So I might be selecting an AMI under free tier. When you are selecting a different AMI, what I have chosen, you need to make sure that you are selecting under free tier. You are selecting an AMI under free tier. Okay. So if you see here, we have few AMIs which are not under free tier. Please make sure that don't select these AMIs if you don't want to get charged. And guys, and again, I'm telling you, if you can follow my instructions, you have the recordings also. So if you can just do it, according to the instructions, you don't get charged. But please don't come back to me telling that you got charged. Okay, so we'll make sure that you don't get charged for anything. It's completely zero. Okay, now before I select an AMI, let me just explore other options here. In the quick start, you can see all the AMIs which is provided by AWS, and you have my AMIs. So here you can see the AMIs which you have created, the customer has created, the account owner has created. Okay. And this AMI is private to me. That means only the account owner who is having permissions will be able to access the AMI. We don't have any AMI. We'll make sure that we have one in the coming classes. Okay. And we also have AWS Marketplace. So AWS Marketplace is basically where AWS supports third-party softwares to use for your instance from trusted vendors like Zaps and Microsoft and so on and so forth. We have multiple softwares where we can use it for our instance. And the beauty thing is, we can also have our software to be in AWS Marketplace, our product, if you have any. It is just that you have to follow some sort of process which AWS is giving you or assigning you. And once it is approved, then you can have your product also in AWS Marketplace. Okay. And we also have community AMIs. So I said that my AMIs are the one where the AMIs which the customer or the account owner creates. Okay. And it is private to me only. But if you go for community AMIs, if you want to share your AMI to everyone, then you can change the permissions to public. Then that would be reflected in community AMIs. Okay, so these are all the AMIs has someone has kept it as public, and you see we have almost 131,000 plus AMIs, and organizations will never go for these AMIs now because it was modified. If you see, it was created by someone else and they just made it as public. Usually in real time, organizations may go for their own AMI or they will start from quick start. Okay, guys, am I slow or am I fast or is it fine?
No, it's perfect.
You're good.
It's fine for
Great.
now. Thank you.
Okay. So please let me know if I am too slow or too fast. I can just adjust the pace accordingly. Yeah. I mean, at any point of time.
No, this pace is perfect.
Yeah. So now what we'll do, we'll just go and select an AMI. So let me just scroll down and I would select Ubuntu 18.04 LTS, which is under free tier again. And there is no particular reason why I'm selecting Ubuntu. It is just that I'm little aware of Ubuntu commands. Okay. But if you are okay with Red Hat, you can select the Red Hat. But commands, you should take care of it. Okay. So, so let me just select Ubuntu 18.04 LTS and go to the second step. So here we have, we need to select instance type. So in the first step, we have chosen an operating system, which is basically software. And here in the second step, we would be going for a hardware configuration. Okay. So what the hardware, which hardware configuration you want for your virtual machine. Okay. And if you see here, we have T2 microbits and a free time. Obviously, we'll be sticking with that. But let's see. Let's explore the other options here. Okay. And if you see here, if you just select one record, if you just select one, all the hardware components, for example, if it's a CPU, memory, storage, optimized or not, network performance, everything is bundled together. You see? Okay. So they are bundled together in a particular way. Okay. But if you want to enhance any hardware component, what you can do is, okay, so what they have done, they have changed the name. So here previously it used to be a general purpose and all. Now they have changed it to the family, like T2. If there are T2 instances, they are just keeping it as T2, T3, C. It's basically for compute. Okay, so we have G for animations, GPU. Okay, and they have memory optimized M also for memory only, and they have also storage optimized. You see? Okay. So So before we used to have names, but they have just changed it. Today only I'm seeing this. Okay, and don't worry, guys. AWS will keep on changing the interface. Okay, the concept remains same. Okay, but you see some sort of differences. That's it. Okay, now if you want to enhance any hardware component, yes, you can go for the compute optimized, memory optimized, storage optimized. If you're going for machine learning or accelerated computing or for graphical, we will be using GPU. And according to your use case, you can select the respective instance type. Okay. But if you are not a specific into any other hardware component, I mean, enhancing hardware components, you can just go for the general purpose, which is T family. You see, this is T family. This is compute optimized T family. Okay, where you can go for up to 32 GB and 8 vCPUs. vCPUs basically virtual CPUs because you don't own them, right? Yeah, it's a virtual one. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll select a T2 micro, which is under free tier, and go to the third step. So yeah, so here if you see here in third step, we have a lot of options. Okay, and we have multiple services like EC2 is a service, right? So we have a VPC. Okay. We have IAM. We have CloudWatch. Okay. We have EFS. So we have multiple services integrated in here. Okay. So I may not be explaining these services in detail now, but when this topic comes, when respective topics or services come, we'll be explaining in detail. So I'll just explain what is required as of now, sticking to EC2 only. Okay. And few things I will be explaining in the slides. Okay. So dot, 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 I will connect all the dots. Don't worry. Yeah. Now we will just use this EC2 multiple times. So every time we use, we explore a new thing if we have with which we have not discussed here, or which we have not discussed in the first session. Now, coming to the number of instances. So you can create multiple instances when you just give a number 10. Okay. So you will, AWS will create 10 instances with the same configuration, with the same Ubuntu and same T2 micro. But guys, you're not supposed to go more than one. Okay. Because under the free tier, we can use an instance for 750 hours. That is the time, first thing. And when you are going, when I say you can create an instance or use an instance for 750 hours, the instance should have the components which you have selected under the free tier. For example, we have gone for Ubuntu which under free tier and T2 micro under free tier. So we will make sure that we select few options under free tier again, and so on and so forth. Okay, so all the options you have selected should be under free tier, and that instance can be used for 750 hours. And you know what? Terms and conditions apply. I will be explaining that in the coming thing. Okay, so when I say 750 hours, okay, that means I can create 10 instances and I can keep it for 75 hours. Please don't make that mistake. Okay, so there are volumes which are related. We'll be talking about that later. Okay. And we will not just create only one instance. In sometimes we may create two or more according to our use case. Okay, so what you can do, you can just create an instance. I mean, unless you get a full awareness for using an instances, please stick with my plan. Okay. Now, number of instances can be one. I'll just keep it as one, and we'll be talking about spot instances in the slides. And next comes with the network. So when you are creating an instance, you must choose a network. And as soon as you create your AWS account, I said that it takes 24 hours to get activated. You know why? AWS will create a network, we call it as a VPC, in each region or in all regions. So if you just go to different regions, in all the regions you will have one VPC created, which is basically called network, and it is a default network because AWS has created it. So whatever it may be, the component you see in the console before you do something, that's a default component. It's a default VPC. Okay. So of course we'll create a new VPC when it comes to, and this is a project one, which is very important. We'll see that at that time, but as of now we will be just sticking with a default VPC which was created by AWS. Okay, and next comes with the sub network, which is subnet. Okay, so subnet is basically a logical partitioning of your network, obviously, right? Now here you will be seeing one subnet in each availability zone. You see, we have 6 availability zone, and these are also the subnets which was created by AWS with the VPC, with the default VPC. This is a network, these are the subnetworks. Okay, and here you can define in which availability zone you want your instance to be. See, if we have more, we can play around, you know. Now, if I don't prefer anything, AWS will select the best for you. At this point of time, what is the best availability zone for you will be selected automatically. So if you don't have any specific use case, then you can just leave to AWS. AWS will take care. Okay. And next comes with the auto assign public IP. So you should be having a public IP address in order to connect through the internet. Without a public IP address, we cannot connect to this virtual machine also. Okay. So if you want a public IP address, yes, you can enable it. If you don't want it, you can disable it. But by default, it is using a subnet setting which is enabled, because we are creating a virtual machine in a subnet. So don't worry if you are not aware of networking concepts. We will be discussing from basics. I'll make sure you understand the things when it comes to the VPC topic. Okay. Now, next comes with the placement group. Placement group is basically logical grouping of your EC2 instances, which we'll be discussing in the slides. Okay. And we have a capacity reservations. So capacity reservation is basically, for example, I have created this virtual machine. Now I want some space. I want some storage. Okay. So this capacity reservation will allow us to create how much storage you want it. And we also have domain join directory. This is actually out of scope. We don't have this topic in our course only. Okay, so it is basically creating a directory and adding all the virtual machines under this directory, so that a person who is having access to this directory will be able to access all the instances under it. Okay, we'll not be discussing about this, but AWS has just added an option. And we have IAM. So IAM is basically identity and access management. Guys, it is raining here. Okay. Yeah. So I think you can hear that. So IAM is basically the authentication part. Okay. Again, this is a separate service. We'll be discussing about that, and we'll do the hands-on. And at that time, I'll show you what is this IAM role. Okay. And CPU options, they have added newly. I have not seen it before. So core count and threads per core can't be modified after launch. Okay. So if you just enable this specify CPU options, okay, it is telling that you cannot change the core count and thread sequence. Okay, so you're not worry about it. You can just ignore it. And we have shutdown behavior as stop or terminate. Okay, so let me just go back to this. So what it is telling, if you shut down your virtual machine, okay, so do you want me to, do you want AWS to stop or terminate it? So first of all, we'll see what is stop and terminate. Now, I said EC2 is a virtual machine. Let's take I have my client application deployed in EC2. My client would be using this application only from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. That means after 6 p.m. till 9 a.m. he would not be using it. Now, to save the cost, what I can do, I can stop my instance. When I say stop, AWS will not charge for stopped instance. Yes. When you stop your instance, your EC2, your application, the volume which you have will be there with you only. That means nothing is deleted. It is just that AWS will stop charging for EC2 instance. Okay. And whenever you want it, you can start again, maybe just before 9 a.m. And AWS will start charging you after 9 a.m. once you start. Do you think that you have flexibility, this flexibility in on-premises? Absolutely not, right? Even if you use it or not, the servers will be running. But in AWS, we can actually stop your instance to save the cost. Okay? Now, terminate. If you terminate your instance, you're actually giving back this EC2 instance to AWS. That means you no more have access to the EC2. Everything will be deleted and you cannot start a terminated instance. No, you can only start a stopped instance. Okay. If you no longer need this EC2 instance, you can go for terminate. But if you don't want to use for a particular period of time, you can stop your instance. Okay. So that is basically the stop and terminate. Now, if I shut down my virtual machine, do you want the AWS to stop or terminate? Obviously stop. If I just go to my start and then say power and then say shut down, what if it is telling that all my data will be gone? I will never go for shutdown, right? So here also we can generally we can go for stop. Okay. Next comes with the stop hibernate. So if you stop your instance, the RAM which is there, what is the RAM? The frequently accessed data, applications which are there, which are loaded into RAM. If you take your phone, if you have opened multiple applications, yes, you can go back by long pressing. Yeah. The same way, if you stop your instance, the memory which is there, the RAM contents will be deleted. Okay. And when you start again, you have to start your applications explicitly. But if you go for stop hibernate, the RAM contents which are there will be loaded to the volume of your EC2 instance. And when you start again, the contents which are loaded will be reloaded back to the memory and the applications will start where it got stopped automatically, or the tasks, whatever it may be, everything will start automatically because the contents are reloaded. If you take your phone, if you switch off, even if you have your even if you see the frequently applications, that is basically the hibernating. Okay, so that is stop hibernate. That is the only difference between the stop and stop hibernate. It is just that the RAM contents will be loaded. Maybe I have a huge EC2 instance, that means with a great processor, and I have almost hundreds of tasks which will be running on that instance. But I use only for few time, only for few instances in a day. Obviously, I will stop it. But instead of stop, if I go for stop hibernate, I need not start all the tasks again, right? And next we have enable termination protection, which is basically it will protect against accidental termination. So if you enable this, no one can't terminate your instance, including you. Yeah, even you can't terminate it. It is just that you have to go to actions, disable this and come back and terminate it. Then you can do it, or anyone can do it. Okay, so maybe you're giving an access to your instance. Sorry, if you are giving an access to your users or employees, what you can do to avoid accidental termination, you can enable this. Okay, and we also have monitoring. We have a service for this. So CloudWatch is a monitoring service which will monitor almost all the services by default for every 5 minutes for free. Yes. But if you want to go for enhanced or detailed monitoring, then additional charges apply. Obviously, you don't select it, but yeah. And next comes with the tenancy. Okay. So we have shared, dedicated instance, a dedicated host. So shared is basically, okay, this virtual machine belongs to us one customer, and another virtual machine on the same host computer belongs to a second customer. So customers are actually using shared hardware resources. One, you have dedicated instance, all the virtual machines on the same host computer belongs to a single customer. Yeah. The third one, dedicated host, where the customer is having the flexibility or control over the host operating system, or maybe like he can take care of the licensing and all. Okay, and yes, additional charges apply for a dedicated tenancy. Obviously we'll be sticking with shared, but we have dedicated instance and dedicated host. And next we have elastic inference. So this option is basically for deep learning technology. It's not related to us, but yes, if you want to go for deep learning, you can enable this. This will accelerate the performance at the hardware level for deep learning technologies. Okay. And we also have a credit specification. So credit specification is basically let's take, I have my client application, okay, deployed. Okay. This EC2 is capable of 100 users. Okay. Now, I have installed or deployed my client application, and the application can be accessed or at any point of time. Even the customers have 100 users to access it, up to 100. Okay. But once in a while, there is an increase in the number of users up to 2 to 3%. Okay. So at any point of time, he will have the customer will be having 100 users to access the application. But once in a while, there is an increase in the 2 to 3%. That means when the number of users increases, the EC2 instance will not be able to handle the request even for one user increase. Obviously, right? Because complete utilization is happening. On top of it, you're actually trying to utilize more. Overutilization is actually happening there. Okay. So at that time, what you can do, we can enable this credit specification as enable, so that your hardware will go beyond the baseline and work for you. I'll tell you why, or I'll tell you how. Okay, so let's take, at this point of time, I have only 70 users. I said this EC2 instance is capable of 100 users. That means you're utilizing only 70% of the CPU, right? You have 30% unused. So what AWS will do, AWS will create CPU credits from unused CPU. Okay, it'll create 1, 2, 3, 4, so on and so forth. Okay, and whenever you want it, whenever there is an increase in the number of users, AWS will start spending those one by one. Okay, so that's how they balance it. So whenever you are not using it, okay, I will save it. So the CPU which you are not using will be saved as CPU credits. And whenever you want it, whenever there is an increase, then I will utilize it. I matlab AWS. Okay.
Can
And
I ask a question on this?
yeah, I just have one more point.
Okay.
One second. Yeah. So now, if you have a use case where the application is capable of handling some users, and if there is an increase in the number of users once in a while, not all the time. For example, at any point of time, I have 100 users. Then going for CPU credits or enabling that option will not make sense. No, you should not go for it. You might be going for a better EC2 instance type. Okay, but if you have a use case like this, which I just explained, then you can only go for that option. Once in a while, if there is an increase, and you will be using up to 100, you will be having users up to 100 users. Yeah, now question please. What are the,
Yeah. Hello.
yeah,
So Anu, yes, I was asking like, okay, CPU credit, if let's say if we have the credit, like then it will utilize this, right? So if we don't have that, then it will charge the client, right? It will ask for, it will charge more money, but it will go extra than 100 users.
no, AWS will not charge you, right? See, for example, if your laptop is of less configuration, you will face the issues. That's it. AWS will not charge you more. No. See, if you are going for an EC2, which is of C2 micro, okay, let's go for A1 medium because C2 micro is under free tier. Okay. So if you have more users than the capability of EC2, users will face the issue accessing the application. AWS have no problem and AWS will not charge you more. No. But if you enable this option, because it is giving the flexibility of saving the CPU credits, AWS will charge you for this.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No. See, if there are a lot of users, AWS is not having the flexibility to increase the instance type and work for you. No. You should be knowing it and you should accordingly act. Okay. So whatever you create, AWS will keep that only.
All right.
But if you're not aware of it, yes, we do have other options where we can automatically scale and all. That we will discuss later. You have to explicitly enable it. You should know that, okay, you're enabling and AWS is doing it of its own according to the policies which you define.
Okay.
Am I clear? Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, great. Yeah, let me just continue. Next comes with the file system. So this is a shared volume for your EC2 instances, which is called EFS, Elastic File System. In the coming classes, anyways, we will be doing the hands-on. We'll talk about that at the time. And coming to the advanced details, we have metadata accessible. So these are also new options which were introduced a few months back. Okay, so before everyone can access the metadata of an instance, but now if you want to, if you want your users to access the metadata, then you can enable it. Otherwise, you can disable it. But what is metadata? Metadata is basically information about your EC2 instance. All the information about your EC2 instance, the AMI details, instance type, the configuration which you have seen till now, and all other steps and more. All the information about an instance is metadata. If you want to give access about the information of EC2 to your users, then enable it. Otherwise, disable it. If you enable it, you can enable in two ways. One is request response method. You request it, you get the response. Other one is session oriented method. That means maybe every day morning 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. I want the metadata. I want to access the metadata, whatever. Yes, you can do it. That is session oriented method. In a particular period of time, you will be able to access it. Not after, not before. Okay. And we also have metadata token response hop limit. So, okay, let me just. Let's take you are in your office network. Obviously, your office will be in a network. Your office will have a network, and your office laptop will be in that particular network. Okay. And if you see here, the EC2 is also in a network. You remember? You have selected the default one. That means it is in a network. A network 2, VPC, whatever. Okay. So now, when you are actually trying to access the metadata of the instance from your laptop, from your office laptop to by crossing the network to the instance, how many network hops you're actually taking? Hop is basically jump. So it's actually jumping from network 1 to network 6. Okay, so how many network hops it has to take in order to access the EC2 metadata can be defined here. We can go from 1 to 64. From 1 to 64. So if you have those many multiple networks in between, jump, yes, you have to give that limit. Okay, so that we need to check with the networking team. Yeah, and we also have user data where automation, where you can have some sort of script here and you can just create an instance. As soon as you create an instance, before your instance is ready, it will run all the commands which are here. It's like a bash script or a bootstrap script, whatever it may be. Okay, so we'll be just implementing this option in the second project. As of now, we'll just keep it as blank. Okay. Um, okay. So what we'll do, we'll just try to cover the next steps tomorrow. But as of now, please let me know if you have any questions. So every day I just keep 5 minutes for Q&A. That could be better. Not to rush. Okay. So any questions so far? Am I clear with the options? Okay. Explaining about the options. Okay. So I can assume that you don't have any questions if everyone is on mute.
No, I'm fine. I asked already what I had to.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So guys, you following me
Yeah.
because it's evening time. You had your
Yeah.
dinner nicely. So I hope you're following me, right? Is it interesting?
Just one thing. So, like with the configuration of instances, are we gonna go
Mhm.
more in detail once we're in more in the course?
This one? More than that, you want more than this?
No, I'm just asking. Like, as far as when we create a live example
See,
of
very simple.
yeah.
See, I will be explaining the options which is related to AWS Solutions Architect Associate. I'll not go beyond, I'll not go less than that. What is required for the session, for the course, I mean, for the certification, I will be explaining those things. Okay. So few things, see, just for EC2, we have, I'll just explain you how to go to the documentation and all. Maybe in the coming classes, we will see. Okay, so once we are done with this understanding about the services and all, so how to explore yourself, I'll show you, no worries. But yes, in real time, when you are actually creating an instance, you should be taking care of all these options because this is a solutions architect. You will be building the infrastructure.
Okay.
Yeah. Eric?
Yeah, no, I got it.
Okay, great, great. Okay. Okay, guys. If you don't have any questions, we'll wind up the call. Thank you so much for connecting.
Before you go, quickly, so I've already sent out a survey for the students. So please review the survey and let us know how the class is going. If you have any questions, feel free to ask Anu in the class, and she will be sharing her email soon, so you can ask her questions over the email as well. Other thing is tomorrow, like I said in the starting of the class, well, I've already sent out an invite. So make sure you go in your Google Calendar and click on that invite. That would be a recurring invite from tomorrow onwards. All right, guys.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, good.
Bye.
Yeah.
All right.
Good
Thank
night,
you very
guys.
much,
Bye
everyone.
bye.
All right, good night. Bye.
Bye bye.